Welcome back. Up to this point, we have seen how to run and use a Docker image that was built by somebody else and placed on Docker Hub. Today, we will learn how to create our own Docker images so that we can control the build process. One problem we've already seen is that some of these images come without SSL built into them. We want this feature. So we need to learn how to modify or extend these images to include the functionality that we want. We are going to start with a project called Pandoc. Pandoc is a library that you can install using apt to convert from one text type to another text type. This user here took pandoc that you would normally install using apt, created a web service out of it, and created a Docker file. Anybody can now use this and build their own image for hosting pandoc. This is what I did on my site here. Sometimes I want to convert from HTML to Markdown or to other formats. So I can select the input, and then I can select the output I want and hit go. And it's done. So how do we build an image using this file here? The first thing we need to do is clone this project. Let's begin in our root directory. We'll make sure that we are here. And then we will use git clone. And then we copy the URL. It created a folder, pandoc-as-a-service. We can view it and change to it. We now have a clone of this site. We can also take a look at the Docker file. The Docker file will build an image from an old version of Node, and then it will install updates and install pandoc itself and then npm for the web component. To build an image, we use the Docker command build. Docker build. We use the T to give it a name and tag. We'll call it pandoc, and we'll call it default. We could call it anything we want, but this is the default one, so we'll keep it as that. Then we will modify it with updated packages, the Docker file, and then we will give it a new tag. Lastly, we must have the period or dot here. It says to look in this directory here. Press enter and it will begin to process the commands one by one. First of all, it's going to download the base image, which is Node 6.10. Okay, it built successfully using the default information. we can verify the image by going Docker images, and we'll see that the version of Node it's using is 3 years old. We should update this. And it created a new image called pandoc-default, created recently. Let's create Docker compose file and start our service. Let's go home, make a new project directory. We'll call it pandoc-docker. And then we need to create our Docker compose YAML file. This file is very simple. We give it the service a name called pandoc. We use the image we just created, pandoc-default. We use our ports for the reverse proxy. Within our VPS, we'll access it using port 2852. Pandoc itself, the container, will run on 880. This is defined in the GitHub project that we cloned, and it will always run. If it crashes, it will try to restart. If we restart Docker, it will also restart. Let's run our container now. We can check the logs. And we can see right here that the web server within Pandoc is listening on port 8080. This is why we needed to specify that in the Docker compose file. There's the image, and it uses this port mapping. So now we can verify that the service is responding to HTTP requests. And it did, and we can see that it is powered by the Express HTTP server. So one more thing we need to do is to create our reverse proxy. So let's do that now. Let's see, Nginx. And we'll call it pandoc.y.jj8i.com. Copy in the template code. And this was the name of this service, pandoc.y.jj8i.com. And we are going to use 2852. Go ahead and save this. Create our symbolic link. And verify that we don't have any configuration errors. And restart Nginx. I have already defined this in the domain registrar. Now, should be able to go to a web browser and view it to verify that everything works. We should use SSL when possible. Certbot nginx, create a new certificate for service number 5. And let's refresh our page.